The West Ham Massive are pleased to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham fans and friends inspired by the work of other football food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations for a Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply sub-distribution centres in the borough 7 days a week and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thanks for your support. Come on, you Irons.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along to the West Ham Massive, and thank you very much for joining us. Please don't forget to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, leave a comment in the YouTube section, and also share the stream onto your social media platforms. All that good stuff. You know how it goes by now. We're just here to have a quick little run through of the match that took place early hours of this morning between ourselves and our new manager's former team. And I'm obviously joined, as you can see, by Mr. Charlie Woodgate. How are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I'll be honest, mate. I couldn't watch it live. I mean, it was meant to kick off at 12 midnight our time, and it was delayed by 2 hours there or thereabouts. It absolutely hosed it down in Jacksonville. I mean, it resembled more a swimming pool than it did a football pitch from the pictures that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, Florida in July. I mean, it's hurricane season, isn't it, or storm season? So
yeah,
not exactly a surprise, but I guess you never know. You never know what the weather's going to do. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that it was so late. Obviously, being in the US, I managed to keep myself up for long enough to watch the first 12 minutes in bit parts from buffering internet, and then internet. Well, I gave up on the internet because the wedding venue where I was staying last night didn't fancy letting me watch the game. So after all that staying up for it, I couldn't watch it anyway. So I should have just gone to bed.
What can you do? Well, luckily, now look, I actually thought my day got off to a pretty decent start because I actually managed to find a link on YouTube that showed the match in its entirety. I thought to myself, that's brilliant, fantastic, right? So I'm sitting there, right? I'd watched up to the 54th minute. Listen to this. This is how bad your luck can get sometimes. 54th minute, I'm sitting there with my cup of tea, having me breakfast, chilling out, watching the game. At that point, it was 1-1. And then all of a sudden, the feed stopped. And I was like, fuck's going on here? And what had happened was some bastard had actually discovered that it shouldn't have gone up, and they've made it private, haven't they?
Who does that for a pre-season friendly?
I know. It's like, fucking hell. It's not really a big deal, is it? I mean, there was barely anyone in the fucking stadium as it was.
Mm. I haven't heard anything about people getting their money back either, given the fact that it was so late and stupid o'clock in the morning. I mean, the fact that they charged for it in the first place is another conversation, a bit of joke.
All to do with that.
But what really does it bring in? They probably earn a quarter of Danny Ings' weekly wage from that, if that. I don't know that many people that bought it.
Nah.
I think the club needs to sometimes look at the old scale between making some money and bad PR. They seem to Seem to get that wrong quite often, in my opinion.
Very, very much so. And we may well come on to that in due course in matters away from the pitch last night. And even Larry Crew agrees, and he's over there in the States, and even he says for a friendly, that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, let's just run through the teams just real quick, if we may, Charlie. So the starting lineup that was put out by Julien Lopetegui was Fabianski was in goal. We had Vladimir Kufal at right back. We had a centre-back pairing of Dinos Mavropanos and Naya Figueira. Cresswell started at left back, and he had the armband. In the midfield, we had Freddie Potts, we had James Ward-Prowse, we had Thomas Souček, and then we had a front three of Mohamed Kudus and Maxwell Cornet, with Danny Ings playing as the number 9, which, if we're playing Danny Ings as the number 9, I mean, all right, okay, Bowen wasn't there, whatever. But Jesus Christ, surely we can do better than that, can't we?
Well, you'd like to think so, but then we haven't really got that many strikers throughout the club, have we? Even the youngsters have not been playing strikers recently, so I've been told. I'm not going to pretend to watch the youngsters' games very often, but a lot of them have been playing attacking midfielders and inside forwards up front and strikerless.
Well, Kadua, he came in at half time, and I mean, when I saw him in the FA Cup run, he was playing up front. He played at right back yesterday. I found that really odd.
Yeah, he's played a couple of friendlies at right back, if I'm not mistaken. He played right back against Dagenham, was it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, again, not a right back, but then I guess there's mitigating circumstances for that. We've got rid of Johnson, and we know that was coming to an end when it was because of his contract. And Soufal was away for international, so we're still playing with a bit of a bit part squad with a lot of the internationals still away. Obviously, got a few back last night. Obviously, had Antonio back. Bowen wasn't. Did I say Bowen wasn't involved? He's
no. The World Cup players haven't linked up. I don't think they might have linked up now.
Yeah, thought they really got there Friday. Maybe I think I saw, but yeah, could be wrong.
Yeah, well,
so it's still a bit part squad.
To be fair, what I saw of us to begin with, I thought we started fairly brightly. I'm not going to say we were tearing Wolves asunder. That's not quite correct, but I thought we looked fairly decent, and I was sitting there thinking, okay, this is decent. I mean, obviously, I was watching it after the fact. It wasn't like I was watching it and I didn't know that we'd lost for the 3-1, but the result, I was like, neither here nor there. But I was like, let's see how we play. And to begin with, like I say, I thought that first 5-8 minutes, I thought we were looking good. Wolves then started to come back into it, and lo and behold, we went 1-0 down, and it was a self-inflicted wound because the ball was played from Aaron Cresswell in the left back channel. He plays a simple ball to Thomas Souček, who's facing towards the goal line. He plays a ball, and it's nowhere near where he wants it to go. It needs to go to his teammate clearly, and he plays it to a Wolves player, the sort of like I don't know if he's Norwegian or he's Scandinavian number 9 striker that they've just bought in the summer. The ball pops to him, he lays it off, and plays it to Cunha, who sweeps the ball past Fabianski, 1-0, and Thomas Souček, he's someone that I'm going to give him a little bit of criticism. I don't think he looked all that yesterday, Charlie. I've got to be honest. My thing with Thomas Souček is that I don't think if Lopetegui is going to play a sort of like a passing game of football, if that's going to be his thing, Thomas Souček, I don't see fits that pattern of play. I just don't see it.
David Moyes' team has passed too much with that Thomas Souček. Like Lopetegui or whatever you say, however you say his name. But one day we'll find out, I'm sure. Lopetegui's team is clearly going to be too passing and possession based. Even if it's 20% more than what David Moyes was, hopefully it'll be a lot more than that. But Thomas Souček struggled at times under David Moyes over the last couple of years. He had that one season where he scored a lot of goals, and look, if we're going to be whipping in crosses to him and he's playing as target man, basically, he could probably do a job in the last 10 minutes, either in either box. But it's hard. It's harsh. It seems harsh to call him Deadwood after all the season that he did have, and Well, at one point, Bayern Munich were linked with him for 50, 60 million, I recall, which, believe it or not, at the time, I probably didn't myself, but there was links anyway. But yeah,
Probably started by Sullivan.
Probably. Or Thomas Souček to get him out of David Moyes' team. But yeah, I think I want to hope that we can pretty quickly move beyond Thomas Souček. Do I think it's going to be this summer? Probably not. There's just too much to do. We got so much deadwood in the squad, so many people wrong side at 30. I think to start losing players that can contribute somehow, it's probably not going to be this summer. But part of that second wave of a clear out next summer, then hopefully, unfortunately, he needs to make way for someone who's a bit more comfortable on the ball and potentially a new signing, potentially one of the youngsters.
Yeah.
Freddie Potts, Lewis Alford. There's potential there. But yeah, Souček needs to, I think, last 10 minutes of games, either end of the pitch, defending a lead, trying to score a last minute goal, great. I think I'll spend much of this. Hopefully, he'll spend much of this season on the bench, I reckon.
Yeah, I think that what I want to see a changing of the guard, mate. I thought one of our best players, what I saw in the 54 minutes that I had the footage available to me, plus what I've seen on highlights and from various people that saw more of the match than I did latterly, is that the two standout players were Mohamed Kudus and Freddie Potts. And for me, I think that Thomas Souček needs to make way for Freddie Potts now. I mean, or, maybe still have Thomas Souček around as maybe an impact sub. I don't think you can just put it all on Freddie Potts to sort of carry you through a 38-game Premier League season plus whatever cup matches comes his way. But I do think that there needs to be this gradual transition over the oncoming season, in my opinion, between getting Thomas Souček eased out of the starting 11 and easing Freddie Potts into it, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think, actually, if I was to put my starting 11 on paper right now, it probably wouldn't include either of them. It would probably be quite an attacking midfield three of Alvarez, Paqueta and Kudus in the centre, 2 8s and Alvarez in the 6. I think Paqueta's competitive enough to be that secondary 6 if we are defending or when we are defending. Plenty of red cards in there, I'm sure, but they'll do a job until they do get sent off. But that's probably the 3 I would start with in the middle, because we need to somehow get Kudus and Bowen in the same team. And I would rather see Bowen out on that right-hand side this year than up front with a proper striker in Duran or otherwise. But yeah, I think to have options of Ward-Prowse, Potts and Souček would be pretty good as your 3 midfielders in and around the squad. I think all very different players. I think different opportunities across the season will give each of them chances to come in and impact the game. Potts maybe when we're leading or in control of a game. As I said, Souček when we need a goal or when we're defending a 1-0 1-goal lead. James Ward-Prowse potentially with Souček at some points to whip corners in and maybe one day score a free kick that everyone keeps saying he's good at.
Yeah.
And match David Beckham's record as he's been talking about for the last 18 months. So I think that's quite a nice 6 to have in midfield if we're gonna. I don't see it spending big on a midfield unless one of the big players moves off. And when I say big players, I don't necessarily mean Paqueta or Kudus in terms of big players, but unless we sell a Ward-Prowse or Souček and Alvarez, I don't think we're going to be going and spending 30, 40 million on a centre midfielder. I don't think we need to. I think there's depth there. We've got problem areas across the squad. I think centre midfield isn't where I would be spending the rest of whatever budget is we've got left.
Yeah. Saying about Freddie Potts, it was him that played a key part in the equaliser just before half time. He receives the ball, he looks up, turns around, plays a ball to Danny Ings, who was around the centre circle. He carries on his run for a little bit and releases Mo Kudus on the right. He's got, obviously, company with a Wolves defender, sort of like shepherding him sort of wide. But Mohamed Kudus puts his foot down, puts the afterburners on, gets a shot away. And to be honest with you, Daniel Bentley, I'm sure, was quite disappointed with himself because it's a shot that beats him at the near stick. We get the equaliser 1-1. you seen the goal yourself, Charlie?
Yeah, I've seen the goal a couple of times, various places, but yeah, I did watch the highlights just before jumping on this actually. But yeah, I've seen the goal, good goal. Is it scored in a competitive game? Probably not. There's probably a better goalkeeper in goal. There's probably defenders getting in his way and giving him a bit of a battle. I think I'm stealing this from someone else. They said it the other day, but when they said it, it really sort of, I thought it clicked and went, yeah, actually, that does make sense. I think the attack in pre-season, attackers kind of get a lot more free will to do whatever they want and score some pretty simple goals uncontested, because unless you know I forgot a couple of seasons ago, defenders are not flying in, putting in meaty tackles, trying to get themselves or get anyone injured in pre-season. Agard obviously did that, and we haven't really seen him since. But so I think, yeah, Kudus is a good goal. We've seen him do it before, so it's certainly a goal we can score in a competitive game. But he was very, very unchallenged, and as you say, poor keeping. So nice goal, but not anything I'd read into it so much.
Yeah, other than that, I thought what I saw of the highlights in the what I saw up to the time that the footage went on the 54th minute, and then obviously the highlights I've seen between sort of like the beginning of the second half and us going 2-1 down. I don't think we really offered too much. I think we had one shot from Maxwell Cornet, which was, a fairly tame effort. That Daniel Bentley, to be honest, he could have just thrown his sort of like his hat onto it and he'd have saved it. There was another shot from, I think it was Lewis Orford, that went over the bar when the scores were still locked at 1-1. But I'd ask people that haven't seen the second goal to have a little look at it, and you can find it on the West Ham YouTube channel. You can have a look at the goal. Have a look at Kurt Zouma, ladies and gentlemen. That's the captain of West Ham United. Highly conditioned, a highly tuned athlete. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm a Victoria's Secret model.
Yeah, I mean, he is the standard bearer. He is the captain. He is the figurehead. Now, that's a fact. Have a look at him ambling back. I mean, his back line's under pressure. His mates are scrabbling around trying to sort of like prevent the goal, which they ultimately didn't do. He was absolutely no fucking help whatsoever. He was just, oh yeah, well, bollocks, I'll just leave it to them. Now, I know that you could turn around and say, we know that he's got knees made of Swiss cheese. We know that was a heavy pitch. We know that it's a pre-season friendly. But I'm just watching it here. It's like, he gave up. He knew he was just like, bollocks, and for me, that's not right, because if he's the figurehead and you've got young, impressionable youth team players looking at you, seeing you do that, I think that's the wrong messaging to give. Absolutely wrong messaging to give to those young players. They're looking at you for leadership, and they see you ambling back and putting absolutely no fucking effort in. Sorry, not good enough.
Yeah, no, I'm it's probably the one, or the top priority squad member, in my opinion, that we should shift on. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because who's going to buy a bloke with 2 broken knees who wants $100,000 a week or whatever he's on? Maybe we'll have to subsidise it, but yeah, he's would be the number one player I would try and shift on. I wouldn't be trying to shift on a Gerd. I'd try and convince him to stay if I could. I think he's a fairly good player, and I think he'd be pretty good in a Lopetegui system, especially with a bit more of the ball, a bit less defending to do. We've seen him ping passes from left centre back all the way over to right wing a number of times. So I'd like to see him and Max Kilman vying for that left centre back role. I think would be good competition. But yeah, he's just broken. He's just done.
If he was a dog, you'd take him to the vets and you'd give him an injection.
Yeah, which essentially the same thing of that in professional football at the moment is going to Saudi Arabia. So go to Saudi Arabia, earn an absolute shit ton, go to a country.
I'm not even sure they'd fucking take him, Charlie.
I don't know. I don't know. I think someone might have him. But you might be right. I don't know. I don't even know if he could pass medical. I don't know if the
He can
medical's
probably barely pass water, mate.
He can't pass a fucking bowl, that's for sure. But yeah, there was no leadership. This has been said a few before, obviously, throughout last season. But there was no leadership last season. He wouldn't cut. He'd speak. We've seen it. We've heard him speak English before. He's been in London 10 years now. Probably not far off it anyway.
Yeah.
He must speak pretty good English. I don't remember him once in front of the media. Maybe he did a few, but certainly after big crushing defeats against Arsenal and
nowhere to be seen.
No, it was always Walt Prowse or it was someone else coming out in front of the camera. So maybe he's a leader behind the scenes, but nothing that any of us have seen would suggest to me that he's should be going into this season as captain. And I think for that reason alone, on top of many others, if you don't want to create a bit of a media storm of Kurt Zuma's been stripped of the captaincy, which I don't think is a little bit easy with a new manager coming in. But even if you don't want to do that, then just sell him, and then there's no big show about it.
Well, I'm just having a look here at their third goal. The move starts from their goalkeeper, passes out to his left back, plays it along. It's a bit of a 1-2 down the sort of like the left hand byline, and the left winger's away. He's got nowhere near him. You know, he plays a ball in. Player gets the head to it. I mean, to be fair, it's a good. I'm not going to coat Zuma off for that because the cross on the ball completely took Zuma out of the picture. There was nothing he could do there. I'll have a go at him for the second goal, but the third goal, I don't think it was a lot. It was a good arcing ball played into Rodrigo Gomez. He gets a powerful header onto it. By now, Wes Fotheringham, the third choice goalkeeper, essentially is between the sticks. He had no chance really. I'm not going to have a pop at him. It was a decent enough ball into the box. He all he had to do is sort of like redirect it. He had the pace on it already. He just had to get the ball on target. But it started from their fucking goalkeeper, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, more concerningly, I think we seem to be seeing a lot of goals that start sort of on the wings and either crosses in or cutbacks across. We seem to be conceding a lot of goals in these. We had 3 friendlies so far that have come from the wings.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fullback problem. The fullback's too high. I don't know if that's a centre back or a defensive mid problem. It seems to be, and it's only a small sample size, so maybe we'll get into the season and it won't be an issue. But we seem to be conceding a lot of different goals from either side of the pitch, but from out on the flank. So hopefully, I'm sure it's something Lopetegui's noticed, and obviously once we've got a few players to come back as well. Soufal's going to come back in. Hopefully, a new right back will come in. Personally, I'm hoping it's going to be Wan-Bissaka, but that seems to be another transfer saga that won't end anytime soon.
I've heard a little whisper that
on.
may well be edging ever closer. If my information, and I do stress if.
Yeah. Well, that'd be good news. I think I've never really rated Soufal, and I think some people really rate him, some people like me don't, and then there's people in the middle, of course. But yeah, I don't really think he's that good going forward. I don't think he's that good defending. So I would be really keen to see a new right back out there. I think Wan-Bissaka is not. He's not Trent Alexander-Arnold on right backs, getting assists like they're going out of fashion. But I think you can go forward and you can put a cross in as well as Soufal, if not slightly better. And I think he's certainly a better defender with a bit more pace. And I think we're going to need that pace if we're playing fullbacks so high up the pitch. I think if Soufal's going to be playing in the final third of the pitch or on the halfway line under Lopetegui, we're going to find ourselves open a lot down the flank. So, yeah, it'd be good to get a new right back in. Obviously, pretty solid with Emerson on the left, assuming those Milan rumours don't come back. But yeah, hopefully a bit of work on the training ground to stop those balls coming in and stops conceding so many from the right and left hand side.
I think if we're looking for silver linings in the cloud, and look, it's only a friendly, guys. I'm not going to chuck myself off a tower bridge or anything like that. But some good positives to take out of it. Again, I thought that Kudus looked good. I thought he looked lively. I thought Freddie Potts, as I say, for me, I would be getting him in the starting 11 in the Premier League as soon as is humanly possible. And I think Thomas Souček for me would be the sacrificial lamb. That's just my opinion. Is it too soon for him? Well, we're not going to know unless we try him. Got some minutes in the legs of Lewis Orford and also George Earthy. He got a 15-minute cameo. Other than that, I don't think there was really too much to write home about. One person who definitely wasn't impressed was the manager himself. I think it's been picked up on by quite a few people that the general narrative of the in-house of the in-house media.
That was me moving my keyboard. That wasn't my ass, by the way.
Is that sort of like the in-house media team under the David Moyes regime would have a tendency, you'd be sitting there waiting for, especially after we got beat 6-0 at home against Arsenal and things like that you're sort of thinking, okay, let's see, are you going to come up with some meaty questions? And they'd be little softballs that are just sort of like lobbed to them and nothing really too much sort of like for David Moyes to deal with. And I'm not quite sure that that's going to be quite what Julian Lopetegui is all about, because it seemed to me that he was given quite a soft introduction by the in-house media team, and he was like, no, we were poor. I'm not going to make any excuses. And I think having had the last 4 years or so of David Moyes where it would be very, the questions were sort of manufactured. You know what I mean? It was sort of like quite soft, tame sort of shit. I think that
at times the media team answered the question in the way they.
Yeah.
Oh, we was really unlucky out there today, weren't we? We was on the front foot. And what do you think? You just answered the fucking question, you moron.
Yeah. I think he's going to have a little bit more about himself. He was not happy with the team yesterday. He was not. That was not what he wanted to see, friendly or not.
Good. Hopefully he's got some. He wants to see higher levels from them, and so we lost Charles. We lost the pre-season friendly. It's not the end of the world, as you say. No. I think the famous one is under Avram Grant. We won every pre-season game, didn't we? So
yeah,
they don't tell you anything particularly. I think they potentially do tell you a little bit more when you've got a new manager. And it's obviously the first chance we've had to see a bit of a change of style of play, a bit different formations. Although I'd argue what we're seeing is pretty similar to what we saw last year at the moment, which isn't the end of the world. I think you can't come in and overhaul everything in what's it been 2 weeks, and still he's still getting players coming back now. So I'm not going to see massive changes over the course of a few weeks. But yeah, it's good to hear him talking a bit more honestly and frankly. I think we were speaking for myself, but a lot of people got really bored and tired of the same old cliches from David Moyes and doing an interview that goes on for a good 7 or 8 minutes where you finish up and think, has he actually said anything? So hopefully, it's pre-season. It's not like he's going to piss anyone off by saying we didn't play well. They're not going to be too hurt by it, but hopefully it shows that he's trying to get some improvement in the team, and we should start seeing better. Hopefully, what we've got 2 or 3 games now before Aston Villa.
Well, we've got
Crystal Palace next weekend.
Palace next week, yeah.
And then we've got the Betway Cup. Is that the next one?
Is there another one as well thrown in? I'm not too sure.
Don't know. There could be.
We need to get some more bodies in. I mean, I think it's for me. I think that if we go into the Premier League season with the squad in its current composition, I think it's well undercooked as far as sort of firepower is concerned. We've signed Max Kilman. Okay, that's a good signing. But the other 2, Lewis Giller, mate, I'm not quite sure that he's coming in to make a sort of like move into the starting 11. I think this is more of sort of like one for the future. Wes Fodderingham's a training round goalkeeper, so
yeah, we've had one big signing, as you said. We've had one signing that comes in and impacts the starting 11. Obviously, we lost Downs, not that impacts starting 11 from last season. Lost a few other players, Obama, Johnson. Obviously, again, not necessarily directly affecting the starting 11.
Bornals.
Yeah, so they're all players that are not
players,
starting, but it means our squad is thin. And I think, look, if we get to Aston Villa, we've not signed anyone. Am I going to say we're going to go into the game with no chance of winning because we've got no player? No, we haven't got a first team. No, I think we've got a first team. It just wouldn't be a first team that I'd be confident going with if we got to the end of September or end of August, whenever it is the window closing, 1st of September. So yeah, it's going a bit slower than it looked like it was going to go at the start of the window, when we obviously went pretty quick and got that Gilherme and Kilman wasn't too far off of that, but it seems to have stagnated a bit. But I think it's said by most West Ham fans every weekend at this point. But hopefully this week we'll see a bit of movement, and I think we get a striker in and we get a right back in before that Villa game, and you see a lot more confidence in the fan base. I think you go into that game with Areola, new right back, Mavropanos, potentially Kilman, Emerson, Kudus, Paqueta, Alvarez, Bowen, Antonio. I don't know if I've done enough players there because I wasn't counting, but I think you put out a good starting 11 against that Aston Villa, or for that Aston Villa game, and then the squad depth only really comes into play a little bit more later in the season, you would hope anyway. So is it a massive concern if they're not in by Villa? Not really. We can, as long as we make a few more signings that I think we do need before the window closes, we'll be okay. But yeah, two big signings, right back, if that's getting close, great. And the striker's obviously the key one. I think to have the likes of Antonio on the bench would give everyone a lot more confidence than having Danny Ings on the bench, etc. So we get, at this point, it's not my money anyway, so I can say this quite freely, but at this point, I'd wish you'd just go and get Duran, put 40 million down on the table and fucking get it done. If that's who Lopetegui and Steiden have identified as their number one striker target, go and get him. Kilman was we spent too much on Kilman, in my opinion, but ultimately I don't really care. It's not my money directly. If that's their main target, go get him, and let's go into that first game of the season with a squad that the manager's confident with, because I don't think he'll be confident going in with Antonio, even though he did want to sign him 2 years ago, or whatever it was.
So you think that John Duran's an upgrade on Michail Antonio?
Yeah, I think so.
What about if the rumours about Wan-Bissaka are true? Is he an upgrade on Kufau, do you believe?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I did see an account saying the other day that didn't necessarily rate Wan-Bissaka as an upgrade, but I think it's quite a substantial upgrade on Kufau. Ultimately, one was signed for 50-60 million pound by one of the best, well, probably the biggest club in the world, if not second, probably second. One's done pretty well to be a lowly paid Premier League right back for West Ham in a few good seasons we've had, but I think they're different level of players, to be totally honest.
Fair. Right, I think we'll knock it on the head there, Charlie. Is there anything else you want to say before we do so?
No, I don't think so, mate. Just I think still got the optimism for the season. Looking forward to seeing some different things, different managers, different styles, different players. I think there's going to be a lot of change this season. Hopefully it all works out. It all probably won't. There'll probably be bits that won't work out, but I just hope Lopetegui is someone that does work out, at least in the short term, because I think we've all had nightmares about it, or certainly the Moyes out brigade, as a lot of people were labelled, but yeah, nightmares about 6 months down the line. Lopetegui's lost his first 13 games in a row like Frank de Boer. And we go crawling back to David Moyes. You could see it now,
God.
couldn't you?
Oh,
But no, I hope it works out. It was nowhere near my first choice as manager, but I've liked what I've seen since come in, and yeah, hope it all goes well. And looking forward to being at that Villa game in 2 or 3 weeks' time, 5 o'clock on Saturday, which not a bad kick-off time. Get down the boats early, have a few drinks, and enjoy the sunny weather, hopefully.
sounds like a plan. Thanks for joining us on this, Charlie. So, guys at home, thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to like, comment on, and share this stream to your socials. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new around here. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts and new content. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support. And we will see you for the Crystal Palace. I think we are going to do a preview for that. It will probably be as short, sharp, won't be sort of like the usually in-depth analysis. It will probably just be bang, 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 10, 15 minutes, job done. But yeah, we'll see you again soon. As I say, Charlie, thanks for joining us. And we'll see you again soon, guys. Come on, you Irons. Stay safe.
Everywhere we go, West Ham are massive.